So, as we see, when we say something is killing me, we don't really mean it. We just mean that whatever we're complaining about is uncomfortable and it's really bothering us and we want it to go away.
Yeah, usually if I walk for a long time or if I stand for too long, my back will start to kill me. Or my back is killing me,
Yeah, my feet are killing me after this long hike.
Yeah, so that's how she feels. That's how we feel most of the time in the heat during the summer. Laura then says, can we stop for some bubble tea? Ooh, yes. Bubble tea, of course, is it's the pearl milk tea that we have in Taiwan. We can also say the bubble is also known as boba. I know some countries also use boba tea instead. Do you like drinking bubble tea or boba tea?
I don't mind it sometimes. I don't drink it very often. I prefer it when it has a bit of something extra, like the little pieces of coconut jelly maybe, some other stuff like that. I think just pearl milk tea with the tea in the bowl, the Jeonju Naicha, I maybe only have maybe once or twice a year, really. I had it a lot more when I came to Taiwan. These days, not so much.
Because you got kind of used to it, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little milky for me these days, I have to say.
You can do it with a different combination.
Yeah, if I just need to try some different ones. Anyway, Laura wants that, but Pat says, I've got a better idea. Let's get some frozen desserts instead. So here he's using the adjective frozen, and something that's frozen has been made so cold that it goes hard. So frozen water is ice. Other liquids also become frozen at low temperatures. We could call a lake or a river frozen if there's ice on top, as happened in the UK a few months ago. Even the sea was frozen in some places. Now, the adjective is related to the verb freeze, F-R-E-E-Z-E, freeze. And the PP of freeze is also frozen, so it's freeze, froze, frozen. And frozen also acts, as we see, as an adjective to describe something that has been frozen. Okay, so it's the PP, it's also an adjective. Here's how we can use it as an adjective. Take the frozen peas out of the icebox so I can cook with them later.
Oh, and it also reminds me of the movie Frozen. Elsa,
of course, yes.
Let it go. So remember her. She lets out all this ice with her hands.
I thought you were going to sing.
Nah, I can't. I'm too shy.
Right.
All right.
Back to the article.
All right, Laura says, okay, there's a street nearby that sells ice cream cones, popsicles, gelatos, and other icy treats. So these are frozen desserts, okay? Things that you eat that are, you have to keep it in the freezer, it becomes hard, like ice cream. Now we saw the word cone here. Cone is a noun and it's basically, it's a shape of a triangle but in 3D form. So it has a pointed top and sides that kind of form a circle at the bottom. And for ice cream, it's a thin cookie used to hold the ice cream in. So sometimes you can use a cup, sometimes you can use a cone as well, and that's made out of a cookie. For example, I can say, I love eating the cone after I finish eating the ice cream.
So as well as ice cream cones, one of the frozen treats mentioned by Laura is popsicles. Now, a popsicle is flavored and usually colored water that's frozen onto a stick. Now, this thing has different names around the world. Some people say ice pop, ice lolly, certainly in the UK, freezer pop, and others. In fact, popsicle is a brand name, so it's owned by a company, that name, but the word popsicle and the name popsicle is so common that we now use it for all kinds of these things. The same with frisbees or band-aids. They are brand names that have become popularized.
I love eating popsicles on a really, really hot day. It makes you just cool off. What I also really like eating is gelato. Gelato is an Italian style of ice cream. And actually, gelato in Italian it means ice cream, and it also means frozen. Okay, so the way gelato is made is a little bit different than ice cream. I think it's generally lower in fat, like they probably add less milk or something.
I think there's higher in sugar though, and it's kind of thicker. We actually did, if you go back and find it in English for you, there was an article about the difference between the two. So that's something to look for if you've been having our magazines for a while. Okay, so we got lots of these cool desserts, and then Laura says, plus my grandparents just opened a shop there. So there's a place where they can go to get these frozen desserts.
Awesome. And then Pat, you say, let's pay them a visit. When you pay somebody a visit, this phrase just means you just go visit them. You spend time to say hello to them, to greet them, and, you know, just to be friendly as well.
Okay, so presumably they start to go off to this shop, and naturally they start talking about the kind of things they want. Laura asks Pat, what are you going to order?
I already have a lot of things in mind that I want. But Pat says, I'm a fan of traditional shaved ice. Now, this is definitely something that we see all around Taiwan. It is a very, very wonderful Taiwanese dessert. It's cua bing. There's no other way to explain it but to say cua bing.
Yes, it's, the ice is on a block and it's kind of been shaved off to make small pieces of ice, and then you add sweet things, fruit things, ice cream, all sorts of stuff on top. And Pat adds about this dessert, it really helps cool me down. And Tiffany actually used that phrase, cool down, about popsicles. To cool down or to cool someone down means to make someone feel more comfortable on a hot day. Now, we could also use it for like a high-pressure situation.
Oh, so when you're stressed?
Anxious and nervous or getting angry, maybe someone would say, hey, cool down. But here we're really talking about temperature.
That's right. So like maybe if we're stressed or something, we can say like, okay, you need to cool down.
You need to cool down. Yeah, right. Don't be so hot and angry.
Yeah, don't be so hot-headed. I think that's what people say as well. All right, so let's continue reading. Laura says, my grandparents serve everything except shaved ice. However, their snow ice is the best.
Snow ice?
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Snow ice, it's like shaved ice, but instead the ice pieces are even smaller and finer, and it's like snow. So when you eat it, it's very, very kind of fluffy like.
Okay, so you just kind of crunch it all down.
Yeah, well, you just kind of put it in your mouth and it just melts.
Wow.
Shaved ice, you kind of have to kind of, you know, you still have to kind of bite down on it.
Yeah, okay. So Laura says their snowed ice is really great, and she says, I guarantee it. You'll love it. I guarantee it. Guarantee is a verb, and it means to promise that something will happen or to promise that something will be true. In fact, if you buy something, you would often get a guarantee, so we can use it as a noun, that says if it breaks down within a year, you'll get a free fix. It's like a promise to repair it. So as a verb, we can use it like this. The mechanic guaranteed he'd be able to fix my car by the end of the week. So he said, I promise it'll get done.
Oh, like, I know iPhones maybe will have a guarantee for a year, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so if your phone breaks down or something happens to your phone, you can always take it to the store and they can guarantee that they can try to fix it for you.
Fix the inside parts, yes.
All right, so next, Pat says, what are you planning to order?
Okay, and Laura says, I'm going to get a double scoop vanilla sundae with caramel syrup.
Whoa.
With whipped cream and a cherry on top.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Loads of stuff. Let's look at some of that. So she says 2 scoop, a double scoop. Now, a scoop has several meanings. Here, it means the amount of ice cream that fits into a scoop. So a scoop is also the tool. It's kind of this deep globe-shaped spoon that you use to take ice cream out of a tub. Now, scoop can also be a verb, to scoop the ice cream out of the tub. So here we're using it like an amount of ice cream, a scoop of ice cream. For example, our chocolate brownie is served hot with 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream.
That sounds amazing.
It does, doesn't it?
It sounds so good. All right, so she has 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream. And vanilla is basically 香草, and it comes from the bean of a plant, and it gives things this nice, very fresh flavor.
Yeah, mild, kind of sweet, kind of fragrant. It's pretty good. Now, as well, she wants some syrup.
Wow.
And syrup is a thick, sweet liquid made from boiled sugar. It's often flavored, and you need syrup to add onto ice cream or to make flavored cafe lattes like vanilla syrup, hazelnut syrup, or as in this case, caramel, or I think some people say caramel, sugar or caramel syrup. And this is when sugar, caramel or caramel, is when sugar or syrup is heated until it turns brown.
So no wonder that's how we get those vanilla iced lattes or caramel iced lattes.
Yes.
We all use syrup to make the flavor. All right, so next, she says, what flavor snow ice will you choose? Okay, remember snow ice is the 雪花冰. So which one will you choose?
Pat says, my preference is chocolate. So I'll get a chocolate snow ice with chocolate chips. Plenty there.
Yum.
So there Pat talked about his preference. Your preference is the thing you like more than other things, or the thing you will choose given a choice. You could also say your preference is the thing you'll always tend to choose in certain situations. It's related to the verb prefer. So the thing you prefer is your preference. Here's an example. I have a preference for vacations on the beach in hot countries, but I'll go on other trips if they sound interesting. So Pat's preference is for chocolate with chocolate chips.
And more chocolates?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So it's really 2 different kinds of flavors here. We have vanilla, which is kind of a little bit lighter in flavor. And then chocolate.
Laura,
and usually chocolate is a little bit more rich, I feel.
Yeah.
So 2 different kinds of flavors, 2 different kinds of feelings. All right, so you mentioned you wanted chocolate chips on there, right?
Yep.
Now, a chip is a small piece of candy, okay? It's usually chocolate, and we can use that in baking. So that's why we have like chocolate chips. When you have a chocolate chip cookie, it means that inside of this cookie, there's little tiny pieces of chocolate in there that give the cookie, you know, another kind of texture, another kind of flavor.
Yes.
For example, I can say, I put more chocolate chips in the brownie to make it taste sweeter.
Lots of stuff
I know
about
you'll like that.
brownies today. I like nuts in my brownies, but there you go. So Laura hears Pat's choice and says, that sounds delicious. She also adds, you can get it served in either a waffle cone or a regular bowl.
Okay, so you can either get it in this or that. So either A or B. This phrase just means a choice between A or B. If it's not A, then it's going to be B or the other way around. So for example, we can say, we can either go to Japan or Korea for our summer vacation. So both are great places to go.
Both are good. Pat got the choice between cup and waffle cone. So we talked about cone earlier, and a waffle cone is a wafer, so a thin, dry cookie made so it feels like a waffle that you'd make in a machine. Then it's turned into a cone shape for holding ice cream so you can eat it without a spoon. Now, a waffle cone will eventually get wet as the ice cream melts and it will leak it, but you can usually eat most of the ice cream in the cone before it starts to go all over your hands.
That's why you gotta eat it fast.
Yes.
All right, next, Pat says, I think I'll go for the bowl. Soccer season is coming up and I need to limit my calories to keep in shape. Ah, okay.
I wish.
Oh man, ice cream is so hard to give up. But calorie is kalori, and it's how much, it's a little bit more scientific. It's how much energy that foods will produce when it goes into the human body. So if you want to lose weight and stuff, you have to count your calories, because if you eat a lot of calories and do not burn it off, then it can cause you to gain weight. But if you are on a diet and you want to lose weight, then you need to burn or lose more calories than how much you put in. Calories is a little bit more of a scientific way of counting how much energy is in food and stuff like that.
Yeah, because if you don't use energy, it gets stored as fat. Okay, so we finally see that Pat and Laura continue walking to the ice cream shop.
I would be running because it's really hot.
Yeah, well, then you get even more hot. But anyway, that's the end of the article, so it's time to go to today's For You Chat question.